Welcome to Bloom. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amber Freeman, and I'm so happy you're here. I'm hoping you're all having a great day so far, but guess what? Even if it's not going as planned, now is a great time to break that and change that momentum moving forward. And did you know it all can come down to something as simple as being civil? We know the word, but do we actually understand what it means and how to be civil? Civility expert and author of Civility Unleashed, Using Civility to Survive and Thrive in the Workplace, Diana Damron joins us now to break it down. Diana, I am so glad to have you here.
Well, I'm so excited that you invited me. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, because I think, as I kind of just said, we know the word civil, but do we actually really know what it means and how to put it into action?
No, I don't think so. And in fact, a lot of people, when I say the word civility, they just kind of glaze over. So I don't think we really know what it is. So I'll define civility for you. I consider civility as the consistent communication of respect, and it's that consistent piece that is so difficult, but that makes all the difference in the world.
It's so true. And you go into your book, I've started reading it, and I didn't realize some of the things that you're bringing up are actually, there's words and there's definitions for them.
Yes.
Because sometimes I know we walk into a place or a room and it just doesn't feel right, and you just feel a little out of place, and it's just minuscule things that people are doing, body language and language.
Yes. Yes, and I think so much of it is, especially when you think about civility, we are in a place right now in the world where everything is about how you're treating me, right? I'm not thinking about my own civility, which is what I have to do, but instead I'm looking and judging whether or not you're being civil to me. So really what we need to do now is just forget about everybody else and focus on our own ability and power to unleash civility. We have to look at ourselves, look at our body language, look at the words we say, and look at the intention. And the intention should be, I want to build trust with you.
It's a hard check. And when I read that chapter in there, I was like, oh, because you're so right. So often we say, why do they treat me like this? And we don't take that time to actually be honest with ourselves and say, well, maybe I'm giving off a vibe, and that's how they're reacting.
Right, and so often we don't have any idea what in the world is going on in their lives. I mean, from day to day, I sit there and, you know, I teach this. I go into corporations, I train teams, I train individuals, I train leaders. But at the same time, I can find on a certain day, it's easy to unleash civility. And I say unleash because to me it's a power. But other days, I'm just off, or I'm running late, or I'm just whatever, right? And it's more difficult if you give me an answer that I don't want to hear, for me to come back in a genuinely respectful way than kind of a little snippy.
Right, and we don't even realize we're doing that. And it's in emails as well. You share stories of a lot of leaders who maybe are not getting the results that they want, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But I love how you focus on taking that hard look, and you give us actual workbook exercises that we can ask ourselves, because sometimes I think we don't even know where to start.
That's right. I think we have to assess ourselves, and the fact is, Amber, lots of times we don't even know how we're coming across, right? You and I cannot step out of our bodies and look back at us, at ourselves. We can't even hear ourselves. You know, as an anchor, that your voice sounds very differently to you than to everybody else. And so we need to get feedback from other people as far as how we're coming across, and very often leaders don't.
So what's an exercise, just an easy one that you offer in the book, that are some questions we can ask ourselves when we need to do that hard check?
Well, I have a tool. It's called Civil. It spells civil, and it stands for C is for choose, I is for identify, V is for value, I is for invite, and L is for let go. So just the first exercise would be to choose civility. How often do we go into some kind of conversation or some kind of interaction and really think about, I really want to show my respect to her,
make that
as opposed
effort.
to I want to win.
Yes.
I want to get my point across.
Yes. You know, I was just listening to a podcast from a very revered author who said that when you want to win, that's your ego taking over.
It is.
And you have to have no ego and choose peace, which is very similar to civility.
Right, right. I always think about, I want to leave that person in a better place than I found them. And if I can have that as my guiding framework, even if I have to say no, even if I have to tell you something that I know you don't want to hear, but if I can do it in a way that leaves you in a good place, then I feel like, okay, I have unleashed civility.
Okay, so we know the C, we're making that conscious effort to do it. What's the I?
The I is for identify. So I wrote this and I got into civility because I was a target in a toxic workplace. During that time, I identified myself as a victim. How we identify ourselves is going to affect our behavior to somebody else. If I see myself as a victim, what does that make you? You become the villain,
guy,
right?
yeah.
You're the bad guy.
Yeah.
And so with that kind of relationship, I'm not going to be treating you or myself. I won't be speaking up for myself the way I could in a respectful manner to you and for myself if I see myself as a victim. So how we identify ourselves, and very often it's in terms of our values. So if I identify myself when it comes to civility, that's a check all the time. Am I being civil? Am I showing civility?
That identify, I think that's the real zinger, because we do often find ourselves in that victim mindset.
Yes.
We're about to go to break. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, but what's one question when we feel like we're in a situation and we're not going to respond the way we should, that we should stop and ask ourselves internally?
Well, I think the first thing is to stop, what you said right there. Take a breath and really think about that person. How do I show that person respect?
And then just move on from there.
And then just move on. Yeah.
Just sometimes taking that pause gives us enough time to
Right. The pause
not
is
snipe back.
yeah, not to just jump in.
That's a magic trick right there. All right, Diana, thank you so much. We're going to return and talk a little bit more about this. We
Wonderful.
appreciate you being here. And of course, we're going to share Diana's info on our website, bloomtampabay.com. And stay around because Diana is sticking around for more Bloom when we return.